Hey everybody, what's good? What's going on? JB here with another CyberInsight live stream. Today we're going to be going back and doing another TryHackMe room, and I am going to be bringing on my friend Kiki once again, who's done a whole bunch of these rooms with me, and today we're going to be doing something kind of cool, something a little bit different than some of the Windows type of stuff that we've been doing in the past and some of the blue team stuff. We're actually going to be talking about search engines and how to efficiently do some Google searches. So let me go ahead and bring Kiki in. Hey, Kiki, what's good?
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Hey, so we're going to hop right into this. As people come in, go ahead and throw your comments in the chat box. Uh, we'll get back to you, throw them up on the screen, stuff like that as soon as they come in. And if you have any questions as we're moving through this stuff, then go ahead and throw those in the chat as well. And hopefully this is kind of a topic that I think is oftentimes overlooked, but I think once we get through this, you'll kind of see how it can be very beneficial to you, completely independent of what type of role you have in tech or cybersecurity. So let us move over into, there we go, that looks good. So yeah, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing the Google Dorking room. A few different things that we're going to be covering here. A little bit about kind of just search engines in general, the architecture behind them and how they go out and find information and index it, and then have that end up coming up within your results. I think we're going to talk a little bit about search engine optimization. So ways that if you have content out on the internet, ways that you can make it be more readily accessible to crawlers, which then again will make it so that your results for your content will end up coming up higher within search engines. We talk about Robots.txt, sitemaps, and then really the most important thing I think is going to be the Google Dorking stuff, which will help you efficiently do different types of searches within Google. So yeah, Kiki, if you're good and I'm good, I say we go ahead and hop right into task one.
Yeah, so task one is Yay-O search engine. And so what it says is Google is arguably the most famous example of search engines. I mean, who remembers Ask Jeeves? I actually remember Ask Jeeves
Oh
because
yeah,
I'm
yeah, yeah.
that
Ask
like
Jeeves, Alta Vista. I'm trying to think. What was it, Lycos or
yeah,
Lycros?
like Rose.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Like, yeah, I definitely have some throwback things going on.
yeah.
Uh, One of my favorite search engines, which was like for streaming, was
Oh,
LimeWire.
LimeWire. There we
So
go. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
it's a whole
then you get
different
into all
one.
the different types of
Yeah, like
torrent type
Napster.
of stuff that we may or may not have done back in the day using. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't
definitely.
even know. Kazaa for sure.
Every
Yeah.
everything I did was legal.
Yes. Fantastic.
So
Yes.
absolutely. So now it might be rather patronizing, explaining how these search engines work. But there's a lot more going on behind the scenes than what we see. More importantly, we can leverage this to our advantage to find all sorts of things that a wordless wouldn't. Researching as a whole, especially in the context of cybersecurity, encapsulates almost everything that you do as a pen tester. Mirland Oracle, I'm not sure how that's pronounced,
Mm-hmm.
has created a fantastic room on the learning attitudes towards how to research and what information you can gain from it exactly. Search engines such as Google are huge indexers, specifically indexers of content spread across the World Wide Web.
And we're going to get into exactly what indexers are and how they go about finding that information, I think, in the next task.
Yes, it dives a little more into it. So these essentials in surfing the internet use crawlers and spiders. to search for this content across the World Wide Web, which we will discuss in the next task. Um,
So,
so the next, no, go ahead.
so I was gonna say. So I think that the main takeaway from this is, um, as cybersecurity professionals or folks that are dealing with IT in general, we actually end up relying on search engines for a lot of different types of tasks, whether it is doing research, in trying to figure out how to configure things, how to troubleshoot things. If you're doing offensive security, then you're using search engines maybe as a tool for doing different types of OSINT and things like that against your target. And as a blue team, you can also use that to also see what type of information is out there readily available about your organization, and then be able to identify if there's some type of spills or ways that you can kind of clean up or protect that type of information. So I think it's something that definitely has a very, very big impact, and something that should be uh, more awareness brought to the fact of the actual importance of understanding how data ends up getting into these search engines and how to use them efficiently, dependent upon what your role is within an IT organization.
And I would agree with that. During my internship, like when I worked with the AppSec team, one of the things that I was tasked to do was, Google and look up
Mm.
information about these different applications that people wanted access
Yep.
to see some of the vulnerabilities that were attached to them,
Hmm.
or some of the things that they actually provided or did. And that helped in us making the decision on yay or nay if we would allow this third party application to be used or ran in the environment and in the enterprise.
For sure.
So
Yep.
it can kind of go both ways. It can definitely be a good tool for somebody that's in a red team, but just knowing how to narrow down those searches, um, I definitely think that's a blue team thing as well. So
Yep. Most definitely.
it's good overall.
Yep. Cool. Cool. I've got some folks dropping in. Throw that up. Hey, Mastermind, what's good? Keep it techie. What's up, man? All right. Let's see. Let's move on to task two. All right. So complete that. And now we're going to be talking a bit about crawlers and what they do and how they get the data.
Absolutely. So these crawlers discover content through various means. One being pure discovery, where a URL is visited by the crawler and information regarding the content type of the website is returned to the search engine. In fact, there are a lot of information modern crawlers scrape, uh, but we will discuss how this is later used. Another method crawlers use to discover content is by following any and all URLs found from previously crawled
Mm-hmm.
websites, much like a virus in the sense that it will want to traverse and spread to everything that it can.
And I think that there's kind of, I know that there's a few different things that kind of go into the rankings as far as the authenticity of a website. Authenticity might not be the right word, but the importance of a website when it comes
Mhm.
to site rankings, and having links that go back to other sites and vice versa, having other sites that have links back to your website is definitely an important thing that gets factored into those rankings.
Absolutely. I agree. So in the visualization section, it says the diagram below is a high level abstract of how these web crawlers work. Once a web crawler discovers a domain such as mywebsite.com, it will index the entire contents of the domain, looking for keywords and other miscellaneous information, but they will discuss that miscellaneous information later. And just looking at the diagram that they have here, you see where you kind of start with a search engine, and then it goes over to goes through the crawler,
Hmm.
um, hits the internet to the website, and then it kind of copies and downloads that website content, creating a dictionary of content such as keywords and images, as recorded by the crawler, and then it picks up on those keywords that you had been looking for, and then the crawler sends that back to that search engine.
Yep. And I think they're probably going to hit on this a bit later when talking about SEO and things like that. But that's why it's really important if you're trying to be effective in the things that you have on a website to make sure that you are using proper keyword tags. Um, Both kind of within the page. You can use tags within the page, and then also
Mhm.
effective language within your content, but then also within your images as well. You can use your title and your description, and there's a few other fields that all of your images have where you can make sure to leverage that in a positive way so that when it does get crawled, um, all of that information kind of gets fed back in there and can help point folks that are looking for certain types of keywords or topics back to your website and your content.
Right. So that main paragraph just kind of described the diagram, which I just kind of went
Yep.
through. So I'm going to go to the little smaller one. As illustrated below, a user submits a query to the search engine of pairs. Because the search engine only has the contents of one website that has been crawled, the keyword of pairs, it will be the only domain that is presented to the user. And so again, you see the user is searching for the pairs. The search engine indexes all crawled websites that has the keyword pairs.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so it can go from one website, which they represent as another website.com, and go to its website contents. And then again, it searches for those keywords. And that's kind of how a crawler is operating. Um, however, as we previously mentioned, crawlers attempt to traverse, termed as crawling, every URL and file that they can find. Say if mywebsite.com had the same keyword as before, apple, banana, and pear, but also had a URL to another website, which is another website.com, the crawler will then attempt to traverse everything on that URL, another website.com, and retrieve the contents of everything within that domain respectively. So it not only will crawl the first domain that you put in, it will crawl any other domain that is listed or referenced inside of that first domain.
Yep. So it'll just kind of spider web its way across the internet.
And that's what they mean when they say it's kind of like a virus. But yeah, I mean, it really is kind of like a virus, but it's not like doing something maliciously.
Right. Yep.
It's just gathering up information. Um, so moving on with that, this is illustrated in the diagram below. The crawler initially finds mywebsite.com, this is basically going through what I just explained on how it works.
Yep.
But just looking at this diagram again, you start with a search engine. It goes to the crawler, goes to the internet, goes to mywebsite.com. It utilizes and analyzes the website contents. And then when you get a little down further, it shows you how it kind of splits up.
Yep.
So what happens is it'll pull those keywords from the main website, which is mywebsite.com. Then it'll extend itself to the URL of another website.com. Again, it'll look at the contents and then find those keywords. After doing that, it'll join back together and create a dictionary of content such as keywords and images, that is recorded by the crawler. Then the crawler sends that information back up to your search
Yep.
engine. So let's go down to recapping. So to recap, the search engine now has knowledge of two domains that have been crawled, mywebsite.com and another website.com. Although note that another website.com was only crawled because it was referenced by the first name, mywebsite.com. Because of this reference, the search engine knows the following about the two domains. And then it just gives a gist of
Yep.
what we got from those keywords.
Yep.
Um, and then another example of that in a diagram. So now that the search engine has some knowledge about keywords, say if a user was to search pairs, the domain mywebsite.com will be displayed as it is the only crawled domain containing pairs. So I'm guessing in this demonstration, they're saying, okay, the user searches for pairs, search engine indexes all crawled websites that has the keyword pairs.
Yep.
It goes to my website, again,
Yep.
that same process.
Yep. Yeah,
So
I think they're just pretty much getting at the fact that it's only going to be the search engine is only going to be coming up with the particular keywords that are end up uh, that were found on the individual websites. Even though it was found through the first website, the URL to go
right,
and crawl the second one. But in the end, that's pretty much how the other website ends up, being known to the search engine.
right. And so scrolling down a little bit more, it just shows another diagram on how, it would crawl the first website, but then if it was different, like three different websites that were referenced in that first website, it would do one, two, and then three.
Right.
Um, and then if it was a separate website, it would definitely crawl that one as well. And it would just, again, look for those same keywords uh, going into that. Um, so it's just, I mean, it's not much more to it. It just kind of shows different situations. But one thing that they do say at the bottom is a logical presumption would be that websites one through three would be displayed, but that's not how real world domains work and or are named. So who or what decides this hierarchy?
Google.
Well,
I'm sorry. Yeah.
dot, dot, dot. Right. Well, dot. So I guess we can get into the questions if you
Yeah,
would
yeah.
like.
So, what is the key term for what a crawler is used for? So, I think we were talking about that.
And yeah, it was, I believe it was actually in the first section, and
You
it
think so?
was index.
Oh, my bad. It's index, you said. Yep. Yep. Let's see. Index.
And so, what is the name of the technique that search engines use to retrieve this information about websites? And
That going to be
that's crawling.
crawling? Yeah. And what is an example of the type of contents that could be gathered from a website? Keywords?
Yeah, that's like the main title of everything
Cool, cool.
it's going to
All
gather.
right. On to
So
task three.
we are on to task three. Did you have anything that you wanted to throw in, or
No,
about
I
the
mean
S?
that's it at a very, very high level and basic operation of what's going on there. But it's I don't know. The takeaways from that is that the indexers are going to go and try and pull whatever keywords they can from websites, including finding URLs to go and find other websites to go and do the same thing against. So I think
Absolutely.
that's pretty much it. Yep.
Yep. So I guess I can go through the basics of it really quick.
Yep.
So search engine optimization, or SEO, is a prevalent and lucrative topic in modern day search engines. In fact, so much so that entire businesses capitalize on improving a domain's SEO ranking. At an abstract view, search engines will prioritize I'm just certain some of these words are not spelled accurately. But I'm gonna mind my business. Those domains that are easier to index. There are many factors on how optimal a domain is, resulting in something similar to a point scoring system.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they want to highlight a few influences on how these points are scored, factors such as how responsive your website is to different browser types,
Yep.
for etc. Google Chrome, Firefox, IE. How easy it is to crawl your website, or if crawling is even allowed,
Yep.
through the use of sitemaps. What kind of keywords your website has. One example is if the user was to search for a query like colors, no domain will be returned as the search engine has not yet crawled a domain that has any keywords to do with colors. Um, so there's a lot of complexity in how the various search engines individually point score or rank these domains, including vast algorithms. Naturally, the companies running these search engines, such as Google, don't share exactly how the hierarchy view of domains ultimately ends up.
Mm-hmm.
Although, as these are businesses, at the end of the day, you can pay to advertise slash boost the order of which your domain is displayed.
And that, by the way, can be very, very, very expensive because the way they actually do that is kind of like with an auction. So yeah, so depending upon like whatever the keywords are in the particular location that you're trying to boost your website in, you pretty much to get those keywords in those locations, it's kind of whoever is willing to pay the most for that. And so obviously certain keywords are going to cost more than other keywords, right? So depending upon, what it is that you're trying to sell or share or whatever, the competition can be, pretty high, especially if, I don't know. Let's say you sell computers and you're going up against Best Buy, their advertising uh, expenses
Yeah.
that they have, right, to be able to pay for that is going to be a lot more than how much you're going to be able to pay for, advertising for your mom and pop store. So yeah, it's kind of interesting.
I agree. So they talk about the various online tools, sometimes provided by search engines. And then they have an example where you can use the Google's site analyzer to check the rating of TryHackMe. Um, were you going to use this one, or are you going to use something
Yeah, we can
else?
click into that
Okay.
if it will. Let's see.
Yeah. It takes a quick second
Yeah.
for it to run. And then basically from just their little screenshots, it just kind of shows you like the performance, the accessibility, and best practices in SEO of tryhackme.com.
Mm-hmm.
Um, first contentful paint. I'm not sure what that means, but
Where's that first
if
content? Oh yeah, I have no idea what that means.
contentful, yeah, I've never heard of that in my
Yeah.
life, but
Yeah.
something different.
Here we go.
Um,
Here we go. Now it's coming in.
yeah, it should be rolling in. It's a little lower than what they have on a screenshot, so this screenshot might be a little bit older.
Yeah, I think it was from
Than
2020.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so it gives you some idea. I mean, obviously, if you have a website, uh, well, if you're running your own website, then you'd kind of have to go through this. But if you pay somebody else to run your website, then you can sit down and talk with them and hand over this stuff to see if you can get your stuff performing a little bit better. Um, some of the stuff might not really matter so much. I mean, their performance based off of this, it looks pretty low, but I mean, we all use TryHackMe a lot. I mean, it's sufficient for the most part. I don't really have any real issues with it, and it all depends upon where they're running this test from, what exactly the tests are, whether there's some types of configurations or prioritizations that are done on the back end, as far as maybe the type of things that this test is running isn't prioritized to be handled at a higher level than other types of traffic that are coming in. So it's interesting, but take it with a grain of salt as well.
Definitely. So moving past that, aside from the search engines who provide these crawlers, website slash web server owners themselves ultimately stipulate what content crawlers can scrape. Search engines will want to retrieve anything from a website, but there are a few cases where we wouldn't want all of the contents of our website to be indexed. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Can you think of any? Or how about a secret administrator login page? We don't want everyone to be able to find that directory, especially through a Google search.
Most definitely.
I could
And
see that definitely happening.
yep, yeah. There's certain content that you don't want to be made available to search engines. Um,
I
that's
think my question is:
yeah.
have you ever used something of a service like that where you didn't want certain content to be looked up about your company or whatever whatever you did want to
Yeah. So there's
necessarily.
a few parts of my webpage that I don't have crawled. Um,
Mm,
just because it's I'm trying to think how I want to put this. It's some not personal, but it's not necessarily related to the company, but I'm still hosting it on the company server, if that makes sense.
gotcha,
So
gotcha.
I use, kind of a different section of that and then make sure that it's not crawlable. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Okay. Well, that's good to know that you actually use this type of stuff, like,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you
For
have
sure.
the service. So that's really good to know.
Yep.
So the next section just says introducing robots.txt. It doesn't really ask for an answer for this question below.
Yeah.
It just, says question done. Click. Let's move on.
Yep.
So next section is the Beatbot robots.txt. So robots.txt, similar to sitemaps, which we will later discuss. Okay. But what is it? The file must be served at the root directory specified by the web server itself. Looking at this file's extension of txt, it's fairly safe to assume that it is a text file, of course. The text file defines the permissions the crawler has to the website. For example, what type of crawler is allowed? Example, you only want Google's crawler to index your site and not MSN's. Moreover, robots.txt can specify what files and directories that we do or don't want to be indexed by the crawler.
Hmm.
And then it just gives an example of a very basic markup of robots.txt
Yep.
in general. So they have a few keywords. Um, keyword is equal to function. User dash agent specifies the type of crawler that can index your site. The asterisk being a wildcard,
Right.
allowing
Everything. Yep.
all user
All of them.
agents.
Yep.
Do not want to have wildcards out there. Uh, allow, which specifies the directories or files that the crawler can index. Disallow specifies the directories or files that the crawler cannot index. And sitemap, which provides a reference to where the sitemap is located, improves the SEO. Um, and again, they'll say
They keep talking about that we're going to get to sitemaps, and
yeah, they like
I'm getting tired of having to wait for it. Just so everybody knows, if you don't know what a sitemap is, it literally is like an XML document that breaks down all of the different stuff on your website, like all of the different pages and things like that. So um, it makes it a lot easier for a crawler to be able to know all of the different pages that you have. Makes it a little bit easier for them. So there we go. Cat out of the bag.
cats out of the bag. Yeah, they definitely keep pushing a lot of stuff off, which is, I mean, it's cool. I guess it builds to the
Yeah, yeah.
suspicion.
They're trying to build up some anticipation.
It's a little difficult because in this next section, you can see the sitemap, HTTP address, and it has XML. So
Yep.
I don't know. So moving past that, um, okay, so what if we only wanted certain crawlers to index our site? We can stipulate so, such as in the picture, and then you can see where they have the user agent um, specification for Googlebot with the allow, and then they have the user agent MSN bot with the disallow. So in
Yep.
this case, the crawler Googlebot is allowed to index the entire site, with the
Yep.
allowed slash, and then the crawler MSN bot is not allowed to index the site.
Yep. I think we kind of skipped over one other little thing right here, so I'll just hit this up real quick. So if we look back up at this other diagram here, we're talking about this was kind of showing uh, disallowing if there's certain directories or pages that you don't want the crawler to index, then you could block it this way with the disallow statements. But if you leave it how it was up here initially, it's any user or any crawler can pretty much get everything starting from the root directory on the website. Here, they're going any user agent, but you can't go to those particular directories. And then, as Kiki was saying, down here, we're getting to the point where we're going to allow Google to index, but not allow MSN.
Right.
Yep.
Okay, so about preventing files from being indexed, whilst you can make manual entries for every file extension that you don't want to be indexed, you will have to provide the directory it is within, as well as the full file name. Imagine if you had a huge site, what a pain. Here's where we can use a bit of regexing. I hope I'm saying that right.
They're regexing, I guess.
Regexing, is
Yeah.
that what it is?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a new verb. I haven't heard anybody use that before, but we'll just go with
regexing.
it.
It's definitely made up.
Yeah.
But I like it. I like it though. So yeah, in the illustration, you can kind of see where they have the user agent and the wildcard, the disallow statement, um, forward slash the wildcard again. Yeah, they're doing some extra stuff to get to this sitemap, and yeah, it's
So I mean,
that
I
that
think that their whole point with that there is that anything with an extension of .ini, they don't want it to be crawled, no matter where it is in any directory. Then that's what they're
yes,
trying to get at.
yep. I definitely agree. It's actually pretty neat though. So I guess moving down to the questions.
Yep.
So the first question that they have is where would Robots.txt be located on the domain ablog.com?
Well, I think it's going to be ablog.com/robots.txt.
TXT. Yep, that is absolutely gonna be it.
uh, oh, don't autocorrect.
You
Stop
and
it.
this Apple,
I
uh,
know. Apple's ruining my fun.
I cannot deal.
Tech. There we go. If a website was to have a sitemap, where would it be located? It would be located at the root sitemap.xml. Okay. How would we only allow Bingbot to index the website? So that would be user agent
User dash agent
agent colon space
Bingbot.
Bingbot. Okay. How would we prevent a crawler from indexing the directory don't index me? So that was going to be disallow,
Yep.
allow, colon, and then
Yep.
don't index me /. Okay, and last one. What is the extension of a Unix Linux system configuration file that we might want to hide from crawlers? I think that. Ooh,
That's gonna be dot
mm,
.conf.
oh, .conf. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yep, most definitely. What was their hint? .conf.
4 characters.
Cool, cool. Now we get to hear about the great secret sitemaps that they've been
All
protecting
right,
this
so
knowledge.
so sitemaps, comparable to geographical maps in real life. Sitemaps are just that, but for websites. Sitemaps are indicative resources that are helpful for crawlers as they specify the necessary routes to find content on the domain. The below illustration is a good example of the structure of a website and how it may look to a sitemap.
So you kind of have like your main website, and then underneath that, like you go to your page, and you're going to have a whole bunch of different pages, right? You're going to have a home page, an about page, maybe a blog page, maybe a products page. And then underneath some of those pages, they're going to have other pages or other objects, and it'll continue to go down and down and down. And so the sitemap just kind of lays that all out in an XML document. And actually, I think, did I have that? Yeah, the TryHackMe. It's kind of ugly to look at. And let me see if I can move it down so you can see it. Yeah, kind of. Give me a second. I'm going to zoom out on this so it will make a little bit more sense.
Okay.
There we go. Okay. So, there we go. So it's just a whole bunch of different pages that you can see here. So we have like the main page, tryhackme.com, tryhackme.com/activities, then a login page, sign up page, classrooms. You'll obviously notice from this, though, you aren't getting to pages that you have to log in for, right? So if this is all that you're seeing here, obviously all the different pages for all the different rooms obviously aren't here on this list. So the crawler is only going to be able to crawl what they're allowing it to crawl, which we kind of talked about before. And the crawler, at least to my understanding, isn't necessarily going to be going through any type of authentication mechanisms to be able to get to other stuff behind that. So this is pretty much all of the stuff that you'd be able to click into if you were to go to TryHackMe Robots.com and not actually log in anywhere. And then also depending upon what they have in their robot.txt file as far as what people are able to see. All right.
Absolutely.
Let me zoom back in here.
Yeah. So underneath that, it just kind of explains what the blue rectangles represent, which are the route to the nested content, similar to a directory. Whereas the green rounded rectangles represent the actual page. Uh, so going down beyond there, let's see. So the presence of sitemaps hold a fair amount of weight in influencing the optimization and favorability of a website. As we discussed in the search engine optimization task, these maps make the traversal of content much easier for the crawler.
Yep.
Why
And
are site? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and one thing, it's very, very easy to make a sitemap. There's actually free tools that you can go to. Let's see. We just go back to Google sitemap generator. See, I mean, here's one right here. You kind of plug it in, and they'll just go into a simple one for you. There's a whole bunch of different ones that you can use. I even think if you sign up for a Google Analytics account for your website, I think you can actually use that to create a sitemap for your website as well. So, um, lots of ways to get it done in an automated way that it only takes like a couple minutes, if that, and then you have it, and then you have whoever your web admin is, or if you're administrating your website yourself, then there's certain areas within the website where you would actually go and load in the XML document, and then it would help the search engines and the indexers when they're trying to do what they're trying to do.
Absolutely. Um, so the next section is why are sitemaps so favorable for search engines? Search engines are lazy. Well, better yet, search engines have a lot of data to process. The efficiency of how this data is collected is paramount. Resources like sitemaps are extremely helpful for crawlers as the necessary routes to content are already provided. All the crawler has to do is scrape this content rather than going through the process of manually finding and scraping. Think of it as using a word list to find files instead of randomly guessing their names.
Yep,
Um, yep, so I guess we can move on to the question section.
sure.
Um,
So, what
what
is
is
a typical file structure of a sitemap? They want XML there.
yep,
What real life example can sitemaps be compared to? What did they say, a map before? That would be funny. Name the keyword for the path taken for content on a website. What was that? Route?
route?
Dun, 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 dun. Okay. Now we are actually to like the cool part of the video.
Cool part.
The part that I've been waiting for. Yeah. So, Google Dorking.
Yes. What
Yes.
is Google Dorking? Um, Using Google for advanced searching. As we have previously discussed, Google has a lot of websites crawled and indexed. Your average Joe uses Google to look up cat pictures. Whilst Google may have many cat pictures indexed, ready to serve Joe, this is a rather trivial use of the search engine in comparison to what it can be used for. For example, we can add operators such as that from programming languages to either increase or decrease our search results or perform actions such as arithmetic.
Bet you didn't know that Google was a calculator.
Google has always been a
Yeah.
calculator. I don't know if you don't know that. I'm in college right now, so it's just like, yeah. When I got to discrete mathematics, I was like, yo, this is not it for me.
That was my least favorite class in college. It was
Hated it.
it was the only class that I got a C in, and it was online, which was brutal. I think I would have done a lot better if it was in person. Um,
Yeah.
but like, yeah, I just was trying to survive, just trying to get through it.
I got a B plus in mine, which was surprising
Yeah.
because the instructor accused me of using basic random SQL syntax in an example in one of my papers. He was like, "Oh, that might be plagiarism. You need to cite the source." How can I cite the source and I made it up, sir? How? Please tell me how. How? It was wild, but yeah.
That's
So it was
ridiculous. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so say if we wanted to narrow down our search query, we can use quotation marks. Google will interpret everything in between these quotation marks as exactly and only return the results of the exact phrase provided, kind of like SQL. Um,
Yeah. So if you just did a Google search and it was American Psycho poster, right?
mhm.
Then they're going to be coming back with results that might just be matching on a combination of those keywords, right? Or search terms, and not the entire thing as an individual thing that you're exactly trying to match. So that's one of those things when it comes to using Google, especially when you're troubleshooting and you're looking for help doing different types of configurations on different types of IT stuff. Taking like whatever the output is from a log entry or something like that, and actually putting that into quotes will help you immensely narrow down the results that you're going to be getting back, and will help you find something that hopefully will aid you in your troubleshooting.
Yeah. So, in refining our queries, we can use terms such as cite um, and query to search the specified sites for the keyword we have provided to filter out content that may be harder to find otherwise. For example, using the cite and query of BBC and GCHQ, we have modified the order of which Google returns the results. So in the screenshot below, searching for GCHQ news returns approximately um, over 1 million results from Google. The website that we want is ranked behind GCHQ's actual website.
Hmm.
Okay, so but we don't want that. We wanted bbc.co.uk first. So let's refine our search using the site term. Notice how the screenshot below Google returns with much fewer results. Additionally, the page that we didn't want has disappeared, leaving the site that we didn't actually want.
So another way where this is beneficial from like an IT troubleshooting perspective is if you know that the information that you're looking for is like from a particular vendor. So like let's say Cisco.com, right? And you know that the particular things that you're looking for with that string uh, would only be coming from a forum or something like that from Cisco.com. Then if you use this here, site and then Cisco.com, and then use whatever your string is, then that will definitely help narrow things down and get you the results that you're looking for.
Agreed.
And
Um,
Charles just dropped in and had a question. And what module is this under? I don't actually think that this is under any particular modules.
it's not. When I looked it up, it was just like one of those road rooms.
Yeah.
I didn't see it connected to anything else.
Yep.
It was just under Google Dorking when I
Yeah. So
found
if
it.
you what is it? If you go to back to like the home page, there should be like a search option somewhere, and you can actually search
Hmm.
all the rooms, um, and then it will kick back. I don't know how many rooms they have, a lot, and you'll be able to find a whole bunch of stuff that's actually not necessarily related to any of the learning paths that we've been talking about.
Yeah. Um, so what makes Google Dorkling so appealing? First of all, and the important part, it's legal. It's all indexed, publicly available information. However, what you do with this is where the question of legality comes into play.
Uh-oh.
Please don't do nothing illegal, y'all. We need
Well,
everybody we can get.
because what this ends up coming back to, and they kind of start to show this here, um, is uh, when you are looking at particular organizations, right? And they're kind of doing this here with bbc.co.uk, and then a file type for PDF. You can start searching for different types of file types, right? And then if maybe you're doing some nefarious things, maybe you start searching for Excel documents from different companies that are of interest to you. Um, Not that you would do that, but maybe you're a pen tester and maybe, OSINT stuff might be, within the scope of the work. And you might end up finding a document that ends up having a whole bunch of admin credentials on a share that's open to the internet. And I'm sure that the company that's paying you to do offensive security for them would care a lot to know that that type of information is out there and readily available on the internet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
uh,
So I think you had another question. I think he's asking the same question. What path are you on at
yeah, yeah.
TryHackMe?
So it's not actually under any particular path. It's just a random room on TryHackMe.
Yeah.
All right.
Um, so a few common terms that we can search and combine include the term, which equals the action, the file type, which equals searching for a file by its extension name, um, cache, view Google's cache version of a specified URL, and entitle, which is the specified phrase that must appear in the title of the page.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, for example, let's say we wanted to use Google to search for all PDFs on bbc.co.uk. It would just bring up all of the PDF files you can find on that site. So that's good. Yeah. So that would be site, yeah, colon BBC, yeah, and then file type PDF. So
Yep.
that's it. I mean, it's just that simple though. Like,
Right.
I think a lot of people think that this is something that is extraordinarily difficult, and just looking off the simple instructions that we're getting here, like anybody can do this and find exactly what you need and how you
Y-
need, in what format you need it in.
you can find a lot of dumb stuff that's out there.
You can find a lot of dumb stuff by just Googling basic things,
Yep.
but when you know how to kind of narrow it down a little bit, like
Yep.
it makes a big difference. It cuts out all of the extra noise that you
Yep.
really don't need. So da-da-da-da-da. So down to the questions, I'm guessing, because the rest of it is blacked out like in CIA
Yeah.
file. So not
So
sure
what
what's
is
going
it?
on
We're trying
there.
to search.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it
Okay.
definitely it's looking real. It's looking real CIA FBI
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah. All right.
I'm not even sure I want to know what's behind
So.
that.
So let's do these questions, and then I want to go over. I have the SANS Google hacking and defense cheat sheet, which
Okay,
goes a bit
yeah.
more in depth than kind of what they covered here, but I think it covers a lot of information that is really cool. So
I'm down with that.
let's just kind of knock
Let's
these out real quick. What would be the format used to query the site BBC uh, .co.uk about flood defenses. So that would be site colon bbc.co.uk flood
Space.
defenses. Did I spell that right? They want it spelled with a C. Let's go again. There we go. Okay. What term would you use to search by file type? What kind of we're looking at up there? Surprisingly, it is file type.
File type colon.
Yep. What term can we use to look for login pages? So again, we're talking about maybe something with in title.
Yep. In title colon. And then log in. Because I give you a good example of top.
Let's take a look at this. And I'm going to put, let me zoom out on this so everybody can see it.
Yeah, because I want to see this as well.
And I'm gonna put this link in the description of the video, so you can go and pick this up, and this is going to be kind of cool as far as different things. So talking about operator examples, they didn't really cover that. So you can actually take different terms. We talked about putting things into quotes, right? You can also and or different search terms. So they kind of use the example here. Initially, like sailboat, Chesapeake, and bay, you're going to be searching kind of on all of those. You can do an or, so it would be anything that matches sloop or yawl. We already talked kind of a bit about putting stuff in quotes, right? One thing that you can do is if you want to negate a word from the search. So here they do virus, but then they do hyphen computer, and that means that anything that comes up won't include the keyword computer, right? So like in that case, they're interested in maybe something related to health, not something related to cybersecurity, right? You can do Roman numerals. I don't find that to be that interesting. Loan info for both the word boat and its synonyms. Oh, that's interesting. So I haven't used that. So the what is that? The squiggly line. I always forget what that's called. Actually, we'll look for synonyms. That's kind of cool. Yeah. So I definitely use out of those. I definitely use the quotes a lot. I definitely use and a lot. I've used or somewhat. I think you do want to make sure that whenever you're using those operators, it's all capital for it. So or all capital or and all capital. Let's see what else is kind of interesting.
It really reminds me a lot of the SQL syntax.
Yeah.
When I took a couple of courses on SQL, and you had the and or operators, join where,
Yep.
in the quote, like it's very similar. But it's interesting to see that though.
Right.
It's interesting to see it.
And how they try and take it and make it kind of like a little bit easier for people to use in general. Maybe.
I love SQL. I think it's the easy. Like I'm not a very good coder at all. Which I own my stuff. Like I'm not a good coder. However, I can get down with some SQL though. Like I think if I put more into it, it would definitely be a different vibe for me. But you
know what I can't get down with?
What?
Regex. I can never get down with it.
I don't even know what is regex.
Regex is regular expressions.
Oh.
And you use that sometimes for doing different types of searches depending upon the type of tool sets that you're using. And maybe we'll do a regex video. That will be fantastic. And then
I'll be down with that.
You say that now. You bring something to drink.
I
Yeah,
would be down with that. You know what? I like just being introduced to different things
sure.
because I feel like it really just kind of broadens my horizon a little bit.
So
It's there's
it,
no such thing as knowing too much.
it's one of those things where I don't use it enough, so then it just kind of like disappears. And then every
What
time I
the
have to use it, I have to go back to Google and go and like get a sans cheat sheet for it and all that type of stuff. It's annoying. Uh, so a few
Yeah,
other things. Number searching, so they kind of have like some defaults already recognizable. So they kind of
yeah.
know what UPS tracking numbers look like, and they know what like patent
Smart.
numbers look like and stuff like that. So they kind of will automatically direct the searches in that way when stuff is put in that format. We talked about being able to use it as a calculator. So addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, percentage, and raising to the power of, which is kind of cool. The advanced operators here. Um, let me zoom out again a little bit on that or see if I can move that up. Nope. Let me zoom out. Uh, there we go. We kind of hit on a couple of these, but it's kind of interesting to see. So we talked about site. You can look for things based off of date. You can try to exclude adult content with a safe search, maybe.
Mm.
Um, you can find info. What other ones do I use? Search for strings in the URL. I actually think that probably from a blue team perspective is helpful. File type or extension we kind of talked about. Cache. We looked at phone books, kind of interesting. You can look for authors. Yeah, so there's a little bit more as far as the advanced operators that you can do besides just what we covered in the TryHackMe room.
That's pretty neat. Yeah, definitely share that so I can save
Yep,
that to my blue team stuff.
yep. And then there are some other search parameters that you can use as well within that. So yeah, pretty cool. I find this to be kind of useful, as I said. Like it's something that we end up using quite a bit, just kind of in IT stuff, day to day troubleshooting and looking up information, stuff like that. So, um, let's see, had some more folks kind of drop in throughout the stream. I didn't throw their stuff up there. Hey, what's good? She dropped in way, way, way at the beginning. Uh,
I just followed her today too. I was
yeah, yeah,
like,
she
this
puts
lady
out good stuff.
is super dope.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
She put out a post last week or beginning of this week where she put together like a whole bunch of like different free content, and it was one of those like
That's what
cyber
I came
Twitter
across.
tweets that ends up going pretty viral. I mean, it got a lot of
Yeah,
retweets, a lot of likes, which is
that's
always
why
cool to see.
I saw the post and I was like, who is this young lady? Follow.
uh,
Hashtag Alexandria's Tech.
Glad you enjoyed the stream. Let's see. Got another comment here. You guys are awesome. I'm new in all this. You do the best job out of it. Oh, I appreciate that. Find you by accident. Oh, I got stuck in the previous room. Will you be doing the OWASP 10 top? The OWASP top?
I looked at that room. I
Yeah.
looked at the OWASP top 10 room and I was like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? I
So
know.
here's the thing. Here's the thing with that room. We will do that room at some point. That room is really, really, really freaking long.
Is
Like,
it?
yes. And I don't know it's going to be something that we'd be able to do in a single stream. I mean, like,
Mm,
I don't know. I think once we're pushing like 2 hours, it
yeah.
starts to get a bit iffy, and maybe you should break it up into multiple streams.
You know what? I mean, then we could always like I say, skim through some of the reading and
Yeah.
just hit more upon what we need to do and get to the questions. Like it's
So
a way to do
I might
things.
be wrong, um, but I feel like there was actually a lot of technical stuff in that with the reading. So
Was it
yeah, I looked through. I'm like, oh, I definitely want to do this. I'm like, but man, do I want to do I want to video this one, or do I just want to do it on my own and just knock it out? Of course,
right?
could take it in like and break it up into do like two videos. Do
I,
like
I I'll look over it tonight and see
Okay.
kind of what some of the questions are, and see how difficult they are for, because I like to go through some of the questions and see if I know the answers, and if how long it would take me to find the answer,
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
things of that nature.
Let me see.
So yeah, I'll hit a few of them and see what's up, and
There's
then
two
let
that kind of fall under that. So it already did the
Mhm.
web fundamentals one, but the OWASP top 10 is
And
kind
then
of.
I think they had like Burp Suite or something like that,
Well,
and
I did the Burp
I,
Suite one. When did I do that?
I think that was like
Two videos ago, I think.
yeah,
But
like
so
a month ago.
each of the top
I don't
10.
know. I don't know. You've been on vacation for like
I,
3 months,
I mean,
so
I'm
I
trying to
don't.
stay on
I don't really
vacation,
know.
but we're.
I don't know what to tell you at this point. So, like, I
uh,
mean,
so yeah, each of the top 10 has
mhm.
like 3 tasks.
What is that under? Is it under the
It's
Pentest Plus?
under Pentest Plus.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to it now. I
So
just want to quick.
yeah, I mean, I'm down with it, and it might just be one of those things where we just kind of. There's 31 tasks total. So
Damn,
yeah,
sir, this is.
you know what? So that's what I'm saying. Like I completely get this that people want to see it. I'm just like, man, is this going to
But
just
you
be
know what
like
though?
an all day Saturday special live stream or something? I don't know.
No, but you know what? Looking at a lot of the sections, though, John,
Yeah,
there are no answers needed. There, you kind of go through some of the content and read through it, and then you just click complete.
yeah.
It's not like
I mean,
it's a million questions.
but you still need to like understand what it is, so we don't look dumb once we get into the actual task with the lab.
I would never allow that. I would never allow us that. There will never be a day when we look crazy
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
internet.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
why I said at least if we have drinks, we could blame it on that. Like it went sideways once the tequila came out. Yeah,
Blame it on the goose.
yeah, that's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Uh,
Right, yeah, this would have to be one of those Friday night
oh no, for real.
joints.
Yeah, yeah. So it's either going to be that or going to break it up into
Yeah,
two different.
I would say break it up into two. I
Yeah,
mean, because like I say, I'm going through like clicking on some of these
yeah,
sections, and again, even reading through some of it, it's not like a long read.
yeah.
And then a lot of them are, you just click complete and kind of move
Mm-hmm.
on. I think it's doable though, but I'll take a more in depth look offline, and I think it's doable though. So you let me know whenever you're ready to do it.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah, for
down with
sure.
it.
And how about
I'm
the
definitely
OWASP
down.
juice room? Yeah, yeah. The juice room looks good too. Um, I don't know. Whenever I see that, I think of the champagne room, but that's something else. I don't know. Yeah,
No, no,
man.
YouTubers
Yeah,
disregard
we
all
could. Yeah,
last remarks.
that is a different TryHackMe stream. All right.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
no, that the OWASP Juice one actually looks pretty dope though.
yeah,
They got some
it
good
looks more fun than the other one, honestly. Um,
yeah. The other one looked like my homework,
yeah,
like
for real.
my assignments. Like
Uh,
yikes.
yeah. So yeah, we'll figure it out, and we'll definitely do an OWASP room or two. I'm not
Absolutely.
against it at
I
all.
think
So all right,
we
any
can
other questions before we wrap it up? We did pretty good. Let's see, got another comment coming in. I found a bunch of good ones for the juice shop. I definitely think, yeah, yeah. I mean, we could rock it.
Charles Lee Ray, if I'm not mistaken, that was the name of the guy that possessed the Chucky doll. Um,
So that's where we're going. Oh, this went sideways quick.
I'm not saying that's who that is,
Yeah.
but I do remember that movie distinctly, and I'm
Okay.
pretty certain that was
If
him.
anyone would remember that, that would be you. So
Yeah, I'm the horror movie queen, so
yeah. All right. Well,
yeah.
I think that's it. as always, Kiki, thanks for thanks for coming on, and we'll do another one of these real soon. Appreciate everybody hanging out and yeah, making your way all the way through to the end with us. Make sure you smash the like button and subscribe. Share it with anybody else that you think might find I don't know, the knowledge of knowing how to use Google efficiently. You know, something that's beneficial to them. So cool. All right. So I guess catch
Everybody have
everybody
a great
later. Have a good evening, everybody. Bye.
night.